why someone puts the name of their dog on the doghouse. I mean, I'm just thinking, if Fido tied one on one night, as he came stumbling back in the yard, he could say, "Yeah, that's where I live." And I don't know what that has to do with anything whatsoever under the sun, except I got 1 hour less sleep last night, and that's the best I could do, people. That is the best I could do. I looked in my coffee cup this morning and said, "You have got your work cut out for you." But we're here, and we made it. And about 5 to 11, we're going to laugh at all the suckers who walk in, right? But we made it, and we're here. And we're here for an authentic transformation, which is what we do. It is who we are. And I'm glad to be here. 1 hour less sleep, whatever. I know that Reverend D is going to get me pumped up. We've got special musical guest Jody Soland with us today, right here. We've got the Irish Celtic band over here with Kenny Malone on bagpipes. And we've got you and we've got me, and we're ready to do some exciting things today. I want to tell you about a couple of things that are happening this week, just to keep you abreast of all those exciting things. Today, right after the service, we have 3 events happening right after the service. We have new member class number 1. If you have thought about becoming a new member, or if you've spoken with Sharon O'Duffy over there, it's St. Patrick's Day, don't you know? Some of us just wear our green deep down inside, don't we, Sharon? That's right. That's what I'm saying. I'm pulling out every voice I have in my arsenal today. I'm done now. Also after church today, Becky Astorita's Spring Equinox, celebrating spring by detoxing, breathing, and re-energizing. Today at 1:45, from 1:45 to 4 p.m., it's $25, and a lot of people were talking about Becky's last detoxing session, so I highly recommend that. And then also there's a leadership circle meeting, but if you didn't know about that, then you're not in leadership and you don't need to worry about it. Okay, Tuesday, March 15th, we have Reiki with Bonnie. If you've been noticing anybody actually watch the announcements as they scroll on the screen before? Okay, good. That beautiful one that has the Ganesh on it. And so Bonnie's Reiki this Tuesday is going to be about clearing the way. Ganesh is the remover of obstacles, right? 7 to 9. This Saturday, we've got something really special coming up. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about April 2nd in a few minutes. But this Saturday is a Love Your Church Day. We're getting ready to have a whole bunch of people come visit us. And we got company coming, that's right. We got company coming. So we want to take care of our home so that it looks like a place that is loved as it is so dearly. So this Saturday from 9 to 12 is a Love Your Church Day. If you have, the ability to do this, you can come to Love Your Church Day. Dave is going to be the lead guy on that. After church day, there'll be a sign-up sheet in the lobby that you can sign up and let us know that you're going to be here. Final thing, next Sunday, March 20th, right after church, Unity of Music City Heart Initiation with Valerie Dennison and Bonnie Hassan from 1:30 to 3. This is where we're going to work on the heart of our church. And now we're fitting to sing my absolute favorite song of all time. I may not be inebriated like Fido, but I might be spiritually inebriated down here while we sing this, all right? Everybody stand up and sing. You know, the Persian poet Rumi always used to talk about kind of being inebriated with the love of the beloved, right? The divine. And it's such a perfect way. I feel that way when I sing that song, Judy, so thank you so much.
It's those Motown chord changes.
Oh, that's what it is. It's Motown chord changes. So it's either Rumi, the 14th century Persian poet, or it's Motown. One of them will touch you at the core. It's all spirit, people. It's all spirit. All right, we've got this little thing coming up on April 2nd. I don't know if you've heard about it or not. It's a thing called the Spirit of Unity Festival. It's from 10 to 3 on Saturday, April 2nd. It's the day that Nashville chooses peace. And we have got something like 15 different congregations, spiritual centers and organizations coming together. The 4 Unity churches, I believe. The Unitarian Church, the Islamic Center of Nashville, some of the spiritual centers, a couple of Baptist churches, a Methodist church. We got us a Catholic priest going to be on hand. Lord have mercy. Fire's going to rain down. We're going to start speaking in tongues. I will tell you.
As long as we don't bring out the snakes.
Stuff's going to happen. As we used to say, stuff fitting to happen. Right? We're going to have a whole kids zone. We're going to have a rock climbing wall. We're going to have face painting. And we're going to have yoga on the lawn. And we're going to have different healers here. And we're going to have love drums. And we're going to plant a peace pole. And we're all going to sign the peace pole. And we're going to make a human peace symbol. And we're going to take a big old picture of it. What else do you need? I'm going to be here. That's what I got to tell you. We need lots of volunteers. Just need to tell you, we need lots of volunteers. After the service, if you'll see Missy out in the lobby, she'll have that sign-up sheet for this Saturday's Love Your Church Day, but she'll also have all kinds of sign-up sheets for the different areas that people can volunteer in. We're not asking you to step outside your comfort zone. We're asking you to find the spot that is your spot, your wheelhouse, where you can show up in love and service for everyone who is a guest at our home on that day. So please put your name down on one of those. We also have a couple of events happening in anticipation of that. March 23rd, which is a week from this Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. March 23rd, we're doing a peace circle in place of the Wednesday night class. Reverend D is leading a peace circle here at Unity of Music City. Now, let me just tell you to breathe for a moment, okay? Because about what I'm fitting to tell you. It's us and another congregation. And this other congregation finds their path up the mountain. It's a little different than our path. And as Reverend D and I were talking beforehand, just about the time that we think something is for someone else's expansion, it's usually for ours. Right? So we're doing a peace circle with Church of the Living Waters. And if somebody comes on in here and says, you will find peace when you accept Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior, you need to go just hallelujah. Bless you. Love it. Bring it on. It's going to be an awesome experience. It's a time for us to show up and be the peace that we talk about. 7 to 9, Wednesday, March 23rd. And then we have a fundraiser coming up on March 30th. This is a that's going to be happening with Paradiso and Rasamai. And this is something we're really excited about. You'll want to get your tickets after the service. These are folks that do sound, energy, healing, spiritual, get yourself lined up kind of work. And so you're going to want to be here. It's $22 in advance. You get tickets right after this. Let's hear them talk about the experience that you're going to share with us on Wednesday, March 30th. March 30th. This is a song. My name's Gary. Coming back and talking with you again is not because I was having an out-of-body experience. It's because we are live streaming on our YouTube channel right now. So, as we've mentioned before, if you're sitting next to someone you shouldn't be, you should move now. Just turn to that person right now and say, "You're not my wife." All right? That's easy. All right, let's take the service into a more sacred space as B leads us into the sacred reading.
Good morning, beautiful people. Would the other prayer chaplains please stand? Know that the prayer chaplains are here to pray with you anytime that you so desire. Prayer is the heart of the Unity Ministry. Thank you. Our readings this month are downloads from Jesus the Master Teacher through the voice and the writings of Paul Farini. Reflections of the Christ Mind. Open your mind and your heart. Allow these words to inspire you to greater insights and understandings, more clarity and grander resolve, and to become more and more mindful of the peace that is always within the next breath. The affirmation: I breathe into the reservoir of peace, and I share that peace with others. Together. I breathe into the reservoir of peace, and I share that peace with others. John 1:1 states, In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In the beginning, words. Words create our world. Words open a heart. Words spoken with intent and emotion bring peace or create war. Words spoken in love and compassion change any situation from one of strife to one of peace. I stated to my disciples, Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I spoke peace to them because they were filled with fear of the future. I asked them to imagine releasing all fear and worries. I spoke of a reservoir of peace. I told my disciples to tap into that reservoir every day. I asked them to live and move and have their being within the reservoir of peace. When we tap into that reservoir, we are filled with peace that passes all understanding. We then overlook differences and see oneness in ourselves and others. When we live in the energy of peace and love, we are able to share that peace and that love with everyone we meet. In that way, we are living in the flow. The reservoir of peace is the flow of spirit. The reservoir of peace is the kingdom of heaven, a light that is blazing out of the darkness. And the darkness cannot put it out. The darkness cannot begin to comprehend the vastness of the kingdom of heaven. The darkness cannot quench the flow of peace in our world. And from John 14:27, Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Do not let your heart be troubled, or let it be fearful.
So I asked you to just breathe right now. And as you settle into your seats, saying and knowing, I breathe into the reservoir of peace. I breathe into the reservoir of peace. When I begin to think of a reservoir, it is filled to overflowing. And so when I allow myself to breathe into that peace, I am filled to overflowing. First with the vibration of peace. And so I just allow that to fill me up, to flow through me. Knowing that myself as a human being is a bridge between heaven and earth. And so as I breathe in again, I am connecting to the energies that are beyond me and this earth, the heavens. And I draw that energy in. I draw it in through the top of my head. And I just allow it to flow in and through my entire physical body. Allowing me to be peaceful. Allowing me to release anything that might be not peace in my body. And as that peace flows through me, I also allow it to flow out the bottoms of my feet and into the earth. Because again, I am a bridge. And this peace that I am drawing from the reservoir of peace is not only giving me peace, but we're sharing that peace with the earth that we live on. Just have that picture in your mind as we go into a place of silence. In the silence. In the silence. I continue to breathe into this reservoir of peace. And I have envisioned myself as a vertical expression of that peace, pulling it in from the heavens, allowing it to pass through me, and then sending it to Mother Earth. But I also want you to envision in this moment that your arms are outstretched side to side. Because we are asked to be a horizontal expression of peace. And so I want you to think of people, communities, countries that you would like to send this peace to. And if you want, open your arms and see it flowing from you to them. Because we are truly a vertical and a horizontal expression here on the earth. And so how could I, as this expression of love and joy and peace, be, think, or speak anything less than peace?
When the world looks like it's gone crazy, tries to rattle me right to my core. When I get frustrated and nothing makes sense anymore, I take a breath and listen to Spirit's gentle voice. I let go of fear and doubt, make another choice. I choose peace, I choose love. I breathe it in, it fills up my heart, and I send it out, leaving its healing the whole world right now. I choose peace, I choose love. When I'm hearing words filled with hatred, meant to divide us once more, when they try to convince me, oh, the only answer is war, I close my eyes and listen to wisdom from within, guiding me so beautifully to peace and love again. I choose peace, I choose love. I breathe it in, oh, it fills up my heart. I send it out, leaving its blessing the whole world right now. I choose peace, I choose love. I'm breathing in, it fills up my heart. I send it out, knowing it's healing the whole world right now. I choose peace, I choose love. Thank you so much. Jody, we are so blessed to have you today. You know, we were talking before we even started this service. I don't know, I think some of you do know how blessed we are to be here in Nashville, Tennessee, because we get people like this that just kind of run through our city and call and go, I'm here, can I come to music? Woo, yes. We are blessed to be in a city that is just full of that. And so we get to reap the benefits of it. Thank you so much for being here today. Jody is an amazing light. She said this morning, I'm not a minister. Yes, she is. That song ministered to us this morning.
Because you said in that song exactly what many of us think. That there are so many things out there that in our human eyes don't look peaceful. And instead of pushing against it, we can choose peace. I'm going to say that again, because I need to hear it. Instead of pushing against it, we choose peace. This week, I was interviewed for, there is a woman in California that is wanting to begin to put together new thought talks, like TED Talks. And she was interviewing some ministers in the United States. And I spent about 30 minutes with her, and she was asking me, what do you think new thought really means? And I said, I think a lot of people think that it is something new that has come to the planet, but it's not. Really, new thought is teaching us how to have a new thought in every moment. That's all it is. It's not some new way of being, but it is a new way of being for some of us, because some of us very easily can get on the devil train, as my young child used to call it. Austin used to call it that. And just ride it infinitum. Even me, some days, I can find myself. I can get on that devil train and just keep on riding and get caught up in some sort of negative conversation until I wake up again and go, whoo, I could have a new thought. I don't have to think that. So, last week, we talked about thinking peace, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute. This week we're talking about speaking peace. And yes, next week we're going to talk about being peace. And those are three very different things that meld into each other and become one. This is a Chinese symbol that stands for peace. I actually have it on my shirt this morning. And the reason I asked her to put that up there is because I have a belief that everybody wants peace. Everybody. Even people that we go, ooh, those people are mean. And they do destructive things in our world. I think people are confused about how to create peace. Judy and I were talking about that this morning as we were getting ready. I think some people believe that if I can get rid of all those people, then my life will be peaceful. Think about that in your own life. Because I've been victim to that, and I've been the victor to that on both sides. Let me say that if someone can get rid of me in their life, they'll be peaceful. Or if I can get rid of someone else in my life, then I think I'm going to be peaceful. But what I began to find out over the 50 plus years that I've lived on this planet is that someone else exactly like that keeps showing up. And I'm going, what is this about? It's about me having a new thought. That's all it's about. So last week we talked about the difference between, if you remember, thinking peace and thinking about peace. And remember I talked about the Native American who was standing in the middle of a medicine wheel and praying peace. He didn't pray for peace. He didn't pray for rain. He prayed rain. Does that make sense? And so he closed his eyes and he thought about rain and what it would feel like. And what I read to some of you last week is he even felt his feet, his bare feet, in the mud and the rain and the water. And he smelled rain. What would peace be if you think peace? And again, yours might be different than mine, and that's all okay. Because when you are in the vibration of peace, that's the whole point. something that would be peaceful to me might not necessarily be as peaceful to you. As I said last week at the end of my lesson, go home and take off your shoes and walk barefoot in the grass. I can promise you to that one over there, that would not be peaceful. She doesn't like to do that. I do. That's why when I go to get my toenails done, they're always like, what have you been doing? Because the bottoms of my feet are always dirty. They are. And I scrub them. My mother used to try to scrub them in the bathtub when I was little, and I was like, that's just who I am. I'm part of the earth. I'm sorry. I have to do that. I walk outside in the snow barefoot. I just enjoy that peace. That might not bring peace to some of you, and that's okay. But do you know what brings you peace? Do you know what brings you peace? And then, can you speak it? There's the issue. Because the word thing starts being interesting, right? We had a little experience on the planning committee around the peace pole. And what that really was. And when we say the word pole, what comes to mind? Or some people and I won't even go down that track because some of it was a little risque. But it was like we had this long 20-minute conversation in the planning team about what is a peace pole. And I share that with you all because any word can be anchored to something in your mind and take somebody down a path, of, oh, I don't want one of those in our yard because that's ugly. Okay, well, what is that really? So if you wonder even about the peace pole, no, it's still in the Namaste Cafe, isn't it? It's just a white, big old piece of wood, big, giant piece of wood that's going to be planted in the ground. But it's interesting that we have conversations. We try to have conversations on we are love, joy, and peace. What would that look like? It might be different for all of us. Hence why we have created an event that is very different this year because we have lots of different experiences. I'm probably not going to climb the rock wall. That would not be peaceful for me, nor none of you all. As I was screaming from halfway up, please get me off this thing. But it might be very peaceful to some of you. So, most of you that know me know that I have spent part of my life in school settings with children and part of my life as a minister. And I consider both of them ministries. And about 5 years ago, all of the Metro counselors were put into a workshop for 3 days with a man by the name of Dave Weber, who wrote a book called Sticks and Stones. I know some of you have heard that. Sticks and stones may, but my mother told me that when I was little. My grandmother told me that when I was little. I even had teachers tell me that. And you probably think, well, why did they spend so many days? And I thought that at first. I thought, I have to go sit for 3 days and listen about sticks and stones. What is that going to be? And they even gave us a book. They were like, if you will come, we will give you a book. Well, most of you know Denise loves books, so I'm like, okay, yay, at least there's that piece that I can get involved in. And the first conversation we had was that. I don't know if you remember where you were or what was going on when you heard about Columbine. Very interestingly, there were a group of anthropologists, which I found interesting, that began a study after Columbine about what they believed happened. And they said that it was because of bullying and the words that had been spoken to these two young men, and that was why they went in and killed everybody. Now, I know probably most of us can go, yeah, I can buy into that. And what I'm going to attempt to do this morning I know my friend Ken would say there is no attempting or trying. You're either going to do it or not do it. Come on, Denise. It's to help us see that that is not the path to peace. Talking about bullying is not the path to peace. We had a whole curriculum in metro schools called Oveus, anti-bullying. Came from Sweden. Great statistics. But you know what we taught children? What bullying was. And you know what I noticed after about 2 years of doing that? We had some great bullies. Seriously. They got it. They understood what bullying was and they started doing it. Do you understand that when you work with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds, they are very, very much sponges? And you say if someone calls you a bad name, that's a bully? Well, then the next day, that 4 and 5-year-old comes to school and calls somebody a poopy head. Now you may go, well, that's kind of cute. But when you're 4 and 5, somebody called me a poopy head. And I said, for about the last 5 years, what if we don't focus on bullying or even anti-bullying? What if we focus on what we want? What if we focus on being mindful? What if we focus on, I created a peace corner. Anybody ever sent to the corner when you were little because you were bad? Yes. So I attempted to turn that around in my school. What if we have a peace corner? Some of the teachers were open to that, some of them were not. So the ones that were not, I created one in my room. We had a peace corner. So if you needed to remove yourself for a moment, or a long extended moment, and find some peace before you interacted with people again, then that's what that was about. Now, I've put some thoughts in your mind. And last week we started talking about, because we are going to be on this ground with lots and lots of different religions, lots and lots of people with different belief systems. And we started talking about Unity's belief about the Bible and the Scriptures, just so we have a foundation for that. And where all this is coming from in my own heart and in the hearts of people who are creating this. If you remember, the Old Testament was a whole lot about fear. Any of the stories you read are all about fear. If I don't do it right, God's not going to love me. There was a book in the Old Testament called Proverbs that was written from a place of wisdom and saying, here's a few ways that maybe you can create something that might be more pleasing to God or to you. One of those verses is in Proverbs, and I will read it out of the King James Version because you've probably heard this version before. The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. And I thought, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? I can create life. I can create death through the power of my tongue, my words. And those of us who love the power of the tongue are going to use it for either or. That's what that means. Well, then I picked my trusty Message because that's the version I like the most. Look at that. That gave me a better understanding of the wisdom of what a writer in the Old Testament was trying to say. That words can kill, and words can give us life. They're either poison or fruit. You choose. So I want you to think again, because we are going to be playing with this horizontal and vertical expression for the rest of this month, all the way to Easter. And I want you to think about the horizontal expression that you have of peace every day? Do you choose words that kill? Do you choose words that give life? Now we're going to do a little tiny, short little exercise with each other for a minute. Because I found this to be very interesting. The reason people awaken is because they have finally stopped agreeing to things that insult their soul. So, for just a moment, very brief, because this is going to cause you to lower your vibration for a second, I'll just warn you. I want you to share with the person next to you something that you know that insults your soul. Go. Just as you hear that, just finish up whatever you're saying right then. And now I want you to have a conversation about something that makes your soul soar, that makes your soul happy. The other direction, do that. And I just want you to think inside yourself which one of those was easier for you to do. And this is not true confessions. You don't have to share with anyone. Because standing up here, there was pretty much an equal amount of energy going on in the room, I can promise you, when we were talking. But the energy was a little bit more funky in the first one, and a little bit more positive in the second. And probably made you feel different on the inside. So I just ask, and hear me, when I ask these questions, I'm not just asking them of you, I'm asking them of myself too. Why do we choose to talk about things that insult our souls? I have no idea. If I had that answer, why do we choose to keep continuing to explain to children about bullying and to not explain to them how to be mindful and peaceful? I don't know. I don't know. Fear would be the first reason. You know, Deb and I looked at each other and went, politics. Yeah. There's something out there that when I even see it on my television, it makes me want to vomit. I don't know what that is, but it makes me want to vomit. But sometimes I get sucked into what's going on the television, and I'm just sitting there going, and then I'm thinking, why am I choosing to allow my soul to be insulted? Why not turn it off? Go barefoot in the grass. Do something different. We are intrigued as human beings by certain things. It's not the same thing for all of us. And so if you remember that the New Testament, we didn't really get there all the way, but the New Testament starts saying, okay, if we attempt to not talk about fear, And if you remember, after Jesus left, his disciples were full of fear. That's what Bee was reading about this morning. Because they leaned on him to keep them peaceful. I'm sure they sat in a circle. He said, "Breathe." Like, I'm scared. And they were like, "What are we going to do when you're gone?" "Well, I'm leaving this peace, this reservoir of peace with you, and all you have to do is tap into it every day." One of his disciples wrote to a congregation of people who were attempting to follow these teachings and said, "Some of the things that I hear from you are why you're not able to stay in peace. And let me tell you one thing you could do every day to be peaceful." Now I'm going to read you again from one version that you probably have heard. "Greet each other with a holy kiss." How many of you have ever heard that? I used to ask my daddy about that in the Church of Christ. I was like, "Why do we don't do that?" "Oh, honey, that wouldn't be good." That's all he said. Why? It just wouldn't be good. And I was like, "But the Bible said," "Honey, believe me, it would not be good." That's all he would say. I was like, "Alrighty." And I remember that we had a church that supported missionaries, and we had a missionary come over from overseas, and I cannot remember where he was. I remember his name was Alex Strachan. And he asked us, in the church community that I was in, it was very straight-laced, no hand clapping, no joy, no nothing, just sit and be good, okay? To all stand up and hold hands together. Oh my. And literally to sing Kumbaya, believe it or not. And I was a teenager, and I was like, "This is cool." Oh, I get to get up off my seat, I get to sing, I get to swirl back and forth, I get to hold hands with people. That caused the biggest swirl in that church that you can ever imagine. You understand, you grew up in that kind of church too. It's very interesting that we sometimes as human beings don't know what creates love and peace and joy. Because in the message, it doesn't say greet each other with a holy kiss. It says holy embraces all around. Wow. So whoever you were talking to just a minute ago, give them a holy embrace. How did that feel? Doesn't that feel better? What if, this is us talking on the down low, okay? What if the next time your soul might be insulted by something someone's saying, you just hug them and kiss them? Now some of you are laughing hysterically. But I just want you to think about that. Because that was not just something that Jesus taught his disciples, and that's not just something they were teaching. This was taught by Cicero before Christ was ever born. See what he said? We were born to unite with our fellow men and to join in the community with the human race. Not just with the people who believe like we believe, but with the whole human race. Wow. Now, I know we're getting somewhere because we are going to have more experiences like this on Sunday morning, because at our Nashville Chooses Peace, we are going to have an experience of eye gazing. Oh my. Have you ever stood and just gazed into someone's eyes and not said a word? That's amazing. Some of you are squirming in your seats right now, and that's okay. Choose wisely whomever you gaze into their eyes, okay? Because what I will tell you is no matter who they are, you can't not love them. You can't. No matter who they are, no matter what they've done, you can't not love them. In the scriptures, in the New Testament, it was called koinonia. That's what it was called in the Greek, which meant creating a spiritual community with communion and love and safety. I'm going to put that safety there. Something the executive board talked about yesterday a lot. How do we create an environment of safety where everyone that's here can be who they are? That's koinonia. That, my friends, is what we're creating here. And that, my friends, will be some of the things that will make some of us uncomfortable at times because of who may wander in here. Because we said we choose peace. We said it. So here's one expression of the peace that we had an experience of in the meditation. This is a peace that reaches into the heavens, comes down into the tops of our head and flows through our bodies and relaxes us. And then we're able to send back into Mother Earth. That may be easier for you. This may be the one that's more challenging. Because this is sending that peace that you've experienced to everyone. As I said last week, even Donald Trump. Everyone. Everyone. No matter what you think, don't think, you send that. You express that. You not only think it, but you speak it out. There is an old scripture that some of us that grew up in fundamental religion had to memorize. Right, Deb? John 3:16. I know it did give you the willies. Because we were told if we didn't do it, that those people would go to hell and it would be our faults. Okay, that's what we were told. So you go out and knock on doors and you tell them, have you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Savior? Those people are standing there going, what in the world's that little girl coming and asking that? Because I was told to. But I want to reframe this for you. Because that's the scripture you've heard, go into all the world and preach the what? Gospel. What is that? Thank you. What is the good news? Whoops, it went away. As I breathe into this reservoir of peace, I am able to share it, the good news, with the rest of the world. Namaste.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I love you guys so much. This was my church many years ago before I moved away. And will be our church once again when we move back in a few years. Reverend Denise, thank you so much. You moved me so deeply.
And your music moves us.
Thank you so much. Judy, thank you so much, the band. Thank you. This is a song that I wrote when I finally got it. That everything I want And everything I need is already right here. Inside of me, I see heaven. Inside of me, the promised land, a place of joy, of love and peace. Inside of me, inside of me, inside of me is a spiritual treasure. Inside of me, more precious than gold. Everything I want, everything I need is inside of me, inside of me. And I could search the whole world for the treasure I see, or I could look inside of me, inside of me is a beautiful light. Inside of me, all the wisdom I need to teach me every day, guide me on my way. Inside of me, inside of me. And I could search the whole world for the answers I see, or I could look inside of me. Inside of me, there is only love. Inside of me, I know the truth, that who I really am is a child of God. I see inside of me, inside of me. And I could search the whole world for the truth that I see, or I could look inside of me. Oh, I could search the whole world for the peace that I see, or I could look inside of me, inside of me.
Wow, Jody, thank you so much. That was beautiful. And what a perfect feeling to have as we
prepare for our sacred walk of abundance. You'll take your gift in your hand and say the offering blessing along with me. I live and move and have my being in this abundant universe. It is in giving that I receive.
Feel the vertical vibration of peace and the horizontal vibration of peace, and know that as you are peace, and you are sharing that peace through your thoughts and your words, and just in who you are, it will come flowing back to you, heaped up, pressed down, shaken together, running over, for that's the law, and so it is. Amen.
Rarely do Reverend Denise's messages make me think of the Ten Commandments. But I kept thinking, thou shalt not bear false witness. So let's move through our week bearing true witness for each other, shall we? Let's stand and join hands and sing the peace song.